I cut ties with my depressed friend. Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some recent r/confessions posted on Reddit. I cut ties with my depressed friend. I couldn't take it anymore. He was a leech, draining my energy and turning me into a clone of him. After being friends with him for only 4 weeks, I was tired, irritated and always unmotivated. Every time we spoke, we had to have the exact same opinion. Or else he'd cry or change his opinion to be the same as mine. If I said he was wrong, he would cry and get mad and say I hated him. Ironic that that kind of behavior made me hate him. He would gossip in the cover of venting. How do I know? I would be part of the thing he wanted to vent about and he would greatly exaggerate what happened. Example, if someone said I disagree with your opinion on fries. He would turn it into you're an idiot. You're so fucking stupid for that opinion. And the venting. If it wasn't gossip, it was just him keyboard spamming and refusing help, even after he said he was feeling better. We are in a Discord server with a venting channel made so that the negativity stays out of the other chats. Well, my friend vents in the venting channel, but if he doesn't get a response in 2 minutes he will bring it into the other channels where people are active and he doesn't get kicked because he is friends with the owner. He also talks to me about topics I've told him multiple times that I'm not okay with. And you know what? I had to force him to go to therapy. I forced him with this ultimatum: go to therapy or I'm blocking you. This seems to be the only advice he took from anyone since I met him. And time to get to how I stopped talking to him. I messaged him on all social media that I didn't want to be friends anymore. I told him why, and I wished him well. I sent it, blocked him and wrote this entire post. I'm gonna get downvoted to hell, but I don't care anymore. I'm putting my own health as my priority. I'm not gonna let myself become a robot that babies this guy. I am not his parent which he can go to for support even though he is in the wrong. I wish him well, I do. I wish he gets better and is able to go to better friends than I, but for now, I think he needs a therapist and not me. I fucking hate my sister. Everything she does annoys me. I spent the first 6 years of my life looking up to her and her telling me I wasn't as good as her and her telling me I wasn't as good as her and invalidating everything I did, and now I fucking hate her. I'm sure some of that is because my dad sometimes hits me and yell at me a lot, but I fucking despise her. I can't express to you the disdain I feel for her. I hate how she tries to act like an anime character, like extending her arm and hitting me in the head with a balled fist while making an irritated face. I hate how she doesn't react normally in social situations, like she never says sorry or thank you or offers help when you need it. I hate how she takes credit for my jokes when she knows for a fucking fact I told them and everyone praises her for them. I hate how my parents always take her side and tell her I'm being overdramatic when I get even remotely angry. I hate how she ignores everything I say, like to put on a bra when we're in public and she's wear a loose shirt with a deep V-neck, or how she shouldn't scream about my bra size getting bigger in public. I hate that she makes a stupid fucking face when she's being criticized. I hate how she's my parents' favorites when they always say she isn't. All I want is to go to therapy and feel better because I haven't been okay for a fucking while. I'm dealing with self-harm and suicide attempts and not being able to do anything without wanting to crawl back into bed and never wake up, but my mom doesn't care when I tell her and my dad yells at me when I come to him, but when my sister cries they coo over her and yell at me asking what I did to her. I hate her so fucking much and I hope I never have to see her ever again when I leave home. I know I shouldn't feel so horribly towards her, but I hate her so much it hurts and I just want to leave my family behind and never have to see her again. I can't help but hate her because she does nothing but agree with my family that I'm selfish for wanting to kill myself and that I'm overdramatic for wanting to run away when my dad has made me afraid of opening doors and loud noises. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to run away to somewhere else where I'm not yelled at for being sad or being hit for crying too loud. I want parents who will listen when I'm telling them I plan to kill myself before I'm 16. I want a sister who will actually want to spend time with me instead of criticizing everything I do and acting like he's better than me by not listening to anything I say. I want to die. I want to start over in a new life and let everyone know what my family did to me. Sorry for ranting, but I guess I wanted people to know how bad of a person I am before I die. I built a few month-long friendship with someone and intent to scam them. Looking back, it was pretty fucked, but I was young then. I saw that she was a rich player and used real-life currency for game points, something I couldn't convince my parents to do then, so I set up a situation to make it seem like our friendship happened naturally, and I would regularly check up on her and ask about her personal life and what she was doing in-game, and she would sincerely check in on me and give me tips. I would always test to see what her boundaries were with giving away items, and when she invited me to her MapleStory wedding, I bought something cheap but expensive enough, and also heartfelt that was based around something we talked about, and I was also among the first to arrive to her MapleStory wedding. I also befriended everyone in her guild. She was super grateful for the gift I got her, and she offered me something for free because she knew how poor I was in game, but I made it seem like I wanted to work for it myself from scratch, and that I'd ask for help if I needed it. I still continued to check up on her, and knew that it'd be better to wait a bit. This was now a few months in. One day, when she was chilling with her guild and seemed happy, I thought it was a good opportunity to strike. So I was asked about her expensive gloves and mentioned how I always wanted to try them because I wanted to see damage-wise how they'd be and if I should work towards them. Since the trust had already been built, I thought I'd make a final push by telling her to try one of my cheap items in order to gain sympathy points and make it seem like a casual friendly for fun sort of thing. She ended up trading me her gloves, and I'm just like thanks for the gloves lol. Dumbass. Peace out. And I knew from a previous conversation that she valued the gloves, so I was trying to see if she'd buy them back for a higher price than it's valued at. So I ran away, but I purposefully made it easy for her to chase me. Eventually her guild members followed me as well, and in a fucked up way. I was getting an adrenaline rush from having pulled that off and being in a chase. I ended up convincing them to buy it back for 1.5x the original price of the gloves. The story does end on a good note though. I ended up getting scammed by someone else for my full bank at a later point and got cleaned. So I guess, karma? I burnt down a cabin and blamed it on a homeless man. When I was 9 years old I moved to Australia with my family. Once we moved there my mother wanted to travel around Australia just to see what it's like before we settled down. So what we did was we rented a RV and started driving down the east coast of Australia from Brisbane all the way to Canberra, the capital. Once we got to the capital we decided to turn around and go back to Brisbane, where our house was. So that evening when we were in Canberra we rented a small cabin because the RV was broken or something. I forgot the reason we rented a cabin, but we all went into the cabin that night and had a normal evening just chilling, playing games on the board games we brought, etc. And we eventually went to bed the next morning. I woke up really late compared to everyone else, so once I had woken up everyone was already packed and ready to start going back to Brisbane. I rushed to get everything packed in like 15 minutes, and once I had put all my stuff in the RV, I told my mom I needed to use the bathroom, so I went back into the cabin, and for some reason, I had brought matches into the cabin with me. So once I was in the bathroom, I lit a match and lit the toilet paper on fire, and since the cabin was all wood it was flammable. Once I had lit the toilet paper I ran outside and got into the RV. We drove off. About 90 minutes down the road my mom got a call from the cabin place and they told us that our cabin had burnt down. 9-year-old me was panicking a lot. We ended up going 90 minutes back to the cabin place so we could talk to the lady, and since I was the last out of the cabin everyone was looking at me. I went up to the lady who had called my mom and told her. I saw a homeless guy lighted on fire. I proceeded to point in the direction of the street that a guy was walking down and said that it was him, even though I knew for a fact I did it. So after the lady called the cops on the guy we went back into the RV and drove back to Australia. I still don't know what happened to that guy and I hope he is okay and never got any jail time. I don't know what made me want to burn the cabin down, but I've not touched a match since, and I'm 15 right now, so this was 6 years ago. I think I deserve to apologize to that guy and pay the price that it would cost to build a new cabin, but I have no idea what happened to him or where he is nor what cabin I stayed at. I emotionally blackmailed someone into investing in my brother's company. Around a year ago, my brother, 30, began his startup and hired me, 22F, as an employee. I get paid a salary, but what really incentivizes me is the equity stake I have in it as an early employee. As some of you may know, getting investors on board as a startup founder has become more and more competitive. Both individual investors and members of VC firms only offer their money to a limited number of startups. Meanwhile, they can easily get over 100 emails pitching one concept or another every day. Without a flawless pitch, a compelling story, and most importantly, founders who exude credibility in every way, you'll probably be lost in the shuffle. My brother has experience in his field, but he's competing against many entrepreneurs who actively network and go to meetups to build and maintain relationships with investors so they can invest in the future. In late 2019, I started secretly dating a closeted bisexual woman in her late 40s. Because of her career, she is never married and says she doesn't know if she'll ever want to marry because she's used to not having to make compromises in her home life. She also doesn't want children. She is the head of an investment fund and weighs in heavily when making decisions. I encouraged my brother to apply to pitch with her fund. She told me she'll take a meeting with him and his co-founder, but there are a lot of similar companies in his space. They have co-founders that have done more to progressively pitch what they are doing to members of her fund and have kept them updated on their progress before they pitch. After my brother pitched, she said again that he should wait for a while and come back in and pitch again because investors really take on a lot of risk with early stage companies. I was upset and told her that she based her entire line of work 90% on trusting in the co-founders and believing in them. The next part made me feel bad because her mother was suffering from dementia and she confessed she was feeling more lonely than ever. Basically, I kept trying to get her to reconsider over the next week and confessing that I wanted to leave and move someplace else because she kept me hidden all the time and obviously my brother's startup sucks. After a week of telling her about how my brother would do more with her money and that he wasn't asking for too much money, she finally agreed to discuss it more with her other decision makers. Finally, she came back saying that they'd give what my brother asked for in exchange for a larger percentage of equity than he had offered. She warned me that she was passing up many similar startups, many whom are pitching their firm for the second or third time. My brother doesn't know that I pulled strings at all and was excited about getting an offer. I promised my girlfriend that she wouldn't regret it. All in all, I don't regret making my brother happy and helping his company reach the next milestone. I think he's really capable and is only lacking in his network and perhaps his hustle. But sometimes I do feel guilty when I slack off at work because I know that my brother's new investor took a larger risk than she's usually comfortable with because she trusts in me. And I honestly think that the other companies, despite being farther along, don't necessarily have the better strategy than my brother does, and it's all a matter of helping him get to the next step. I tried destroying people's computers and steal personal info. So I was recently ratted. If you are uninformed as to what this means, let me give you a short explanation. A remote access tool, or RAT for short, is a virus which, when executed, allows an external host to control your computer. The options they have are limitless but include password finders, keyloggers, webcam view, desktop control, and tons more. I recently found out I had been infected with one of these Trojans, and promptly reinstalled Windows and took the necessary precautions to make sure it was removed. Then the thought came into my head. What if I did this to others, and infiltrated their computers just to scare them shitless, or getting into their accounts and posting horrendous shit on social feeds, even destroying hardware? So I look up some shady YouTube tutorials and install the shit, build the exec file, and send it to a file hosting service, etc. I set it up correctly and even got it through a few OVs. I did end up getting it on some poor guy's PC in Poland, but I just trolled him with fake error messages and he immediately started system recovery. But I was never actually successful, thanks to this one guy on Discord. Basically, I tried advertising this Among Us hack to a bunch of random on Discord hoping one of them would bite, and then this guy calls me out for my rat, and due to the fact I am a complete noob, failed to even encrypt it. So we start chatting and I admit to attempting to rat him and he ends up being a pretty chill guy, and I end up realizing how fucked up this is, seeing how dumb what I'm attempting to do is, and I ended up uninstalling everything and removing the rat from the file hosting service. So in the end, no real harm has been done. I have since realized what a shit thing this was to do, and I genuinely feel bad about doing it, just because I was pissed off that it had happened to me. Stay safe out there, and have a nice day. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.